Okay, question about cutting silicone tubing to precise length. First you'll need a tool. I use an upside down Xacto blade in the tool post. What you do is you put it in, get the blade vertical by eye, push the blade into the tool post when you do up the screws, and then check to see that it's still vertical. Then you need a support bar. I've used a 13.5 inch piece of stainless steel rod, 1/4 inch. The reason it's so long is for illustration in just a minute. So that goes through, chuck, stick it out about 3/4 inch, just tighten it up, nip it up. It needs to be fairly tight so that the drill doesn't push it back through the headstock. You want to run it at a medium speed. Now this is what happens when you go too fast. This is what's called flex. I'll just put that there so we can see what's happening. There, that's better. Right, as the speed increases, you'll see the ends start to vibrate a little. And if the speed gets too much, it'll whip around, and there we go. That's the maximum it'll go because of the end of the spindle holding it from going any further. There's two ways to fix this. One, reduce the speed, or two, wrap a bit of paper or cardboard around the workpiece and jam it into the end of the spindle. And that'll just hold it, stop that from happening. If you're using a longer piece, or one that's very small, smaller in diameter than that, it's quite dangerous because the flex can actually bend it at the end of the spindle and it'll whip around and it'll damage things and perhaps people. You don't want that to happen. So the workpiece that we're talking about is 9 inches long, so that's only going to be sticking out about that far. So that's not far enough to worry about. So forget about flex. Need to center drill it. Jacob's chuck, center drill. Run the tailstock up to the work. Just lock it to the bed. I've got the older style tailstock. Now again, you want this medium speed. Not too fast. It's not breaking any records here. And just go in and just cut a centre. It doesn't need to be very deep. You don't need a huge centre in there. It's only light work. That's all there is to it. So we'll just run that back. Take out the drill, just wind the tailstock back until it nips out. And now we want our dead centre. So I'll just give it a quick wipe. You always wipe anything before you put it into the tailstock. Okay, that's fine. And we want just a drop of oil on there. You don't want too much. Just drops plenty. This will come squirting out, you watch. There we go. That's more than enough. So I'll just take a little bit of that off, especially if you're using brass. You don't want this to creep up around the end of the workpiece and go back onto the silicone tubing. Okay. So now we mount the tool. Just a standard Sherline tool post. See how many times I have to try to get it mounted. The thing just, there we go. That's it. Right, so you run that back past the centre. So you've got plenty of room there. Now what you need to do now is look vertically down so that the blade is parallel with the edge of the cross slide. Being an Xacto knife, it's probably sticking out of the knife at a slight angle. So just want to take that into account. Right, that's not going anywhere, it's vertical and it's straight across, which is exactly what we want. Now we need to get our silicone tubing. So we'll take our rod out. I've had some silicone tubing in hot water. And we just need to slip it over and just push it on. And of course, it's being a bit difficult about it. That's okay. I've got wet hands, which doesn't help. There we go. Okay. So as that cools, it's going to grip the support rod tightly, which is again what we want. Right. We can go and button up. It's got to go in that way. And out we come. Right, so just do that up. There we go. Now we just run the tailstock just into the centre. Now you don't need a lot of pressure. We don't need to lock the tailstock and crank it into the workpiece. We just need to rest the workpiece on there. So that's exactly where we want it. Actually I need a bit more room there, so we'll just extend that a little bit. Push that out. There we go. We'll tighten that up. And push that on. And tighten the chuck. Sorry about that. Right. Okay. Next thing is just to trim the end of the tube because it's not going to be straight. So we'll get the cross slide down there eventually. One day. Okay, now we're going to waste a little bit of tube. That's fine. No one's crying over that. Make sure that the centre is just into the work, and then we can lock it. And we want a fairly slow speed for this. So we go in. Can't quite see, I've got a little bit of way to go. There we go. See, it's just starting to cut now. It's moving a little deeper. Just a little bit at a time. Don't need to go at a bullet gate. And you'll hear it as soon as it touches the support rod. So now back it out of the cut. Wind it down our length, in this case 15 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And there we are. Move in. And we're cutting. Okay, the change in noise as soon as it touches the rod. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And there we have it. Two 15mm pieces of silicone tubing. I may want to prise these off because they're smaller. There we go. Bingo. Two precise little bits of tube. That's all there is to it.